So this video is for everyone that thinks that these children leashes are okay. I think it's bullshit. Putting a child on a leash, one, is lazy. Okay? You should never have to put your child on a leash. They're not your pet. It's not funny. It's not cute. It doesn't look cool. I don't understand the thinking of this. Okay? My child, I have a son. He is 2 years old. Okay? My son knows his boundaries. Why? Because he has been disciplined and taught his boundaries. If he does something wrong, he gets his ass busted or he goes to timeout. Okay? He does not have a leash put on him when we go out into public. My mom had 5 kids in 5 years. Took us everywhere. We went to concerts, we went to movie theaters, carnivals, everywhere. Anywhere that you could go where there's a shit ton of people, we were. And you know what happened if we acted up? If we acted up, my mom would pick us up, take us back to the vehicle, whoop our ass, and take us home. And then when we got home, we were in trouble. We went to timeout. We stood in a corner. We sat in our room with nothing. We were disciplined properly. Okay, if we couldn't leave where we were yet, guess what? We had to hold a belt loop on my mom's pants and walk around by her side. All right? Never wore a leash. Never. My son will never wear a fucking leash. I'll tell you that right now. These leashes are nothing but a crutch for parents that don't actually want to discipline and pay attention to their children. Okay? If your child is right next to you and someone is able to walk up and just grab your child and walk off with them, guess what? You weren't paying attention. No matter what the fuck you say, you have no excuse. You weren't paying attention to your children. You were more involved in paying more attention to what you were doing than to what your children were doing. Okay? My son gets hurt. My son does pretty well much just about everything. He'll help you clean dishes. He'll do laundry. He'll do yard work. He plays outside by himself. I don't care to let my son walk 10, 20 feet from me and play. You know why? Because I'm watching him. He is within eyesight of me. I pay attention to my son. I am a stay-at-home dad. I had just recently stopped working so my old lady could go work. Okay? I sit at home with my son every day. We have fun. We go all over the place. When we leave and go places, guess what? He ain't on no damn leash. He walks right beside me, either holding my hand or just walking right beside me. He don't go nowhere. You know why? Because he's been taught not to. He has been taught and disciplined enough that he knows he is supposed to stay right next to his daddy or right next to his mommy or whoever he is with, no matter where we're at. There ain't no need to put your kid on a leash. It's fucking lazy. It's demoralizing. Would you like somebody to put a leash on you and walk around with you for a couple hours out of the day? Probably not. I know I wouldn't. You put a leash on me, I'm going to grab that leash, pull you up close to me, and I'm going to bust you in the mouth. I'm not your pet. Not your slave. You don't own me. I don't own my child. Yes, he's my child, but I don't own him. Leashes on children are wrong. It's like we're going back in time. What did we do to slaves? We put leashes and chains on them. Why the fuck would you do that to your kids? Why would you teach your kids to do that? Why teach your kid that it is okay to be tied up or be put on a leash and have somebody walk you around? That is not okay. children are supposed to be free. Children are supposed to be able to play. If your child throws a tantrum in the middle of the grocery store or wherever you're at and decides to throw themselves down on the ground and flail around and scream and yell and cry, guess what? You pick your child up, you either walk to your vehicle or walk to the closest bathroom, go into a stall, pull their pants down and bust their ass. Put your hand across their ass. There is nothing wrong with it. Not a damn thing. There is nothing wrong with taking your hand and whooping your kid's ass. It is not abuse. It is discipline. Spank your kids. Teach them wrong from right. Don't use some fucking crutch or some excuse or be afraid that somebody's going to come and take your fucking children because you discipline them. And I know I'm getting a little excited here. I'm getting a little, raising my voice and this and that, but that's how much this actually gets on my nerves. Nobody wants to wear a fucking leash with somebody behind them. Ever. I don't care who you are. So why the fuck would you do it to your kids and teach them that that's okay? That is not okay. You don't do that to your kids. You don't put them on a leash. It is completely fucking wrong. You want your child to stay next to you when you go out in public? You want to be able to take your child somewhere without throwing a fucking tantrum? Guess what? Bend them over your knee, bust their ass. Whether it's a bathroom, your vehicle, your home, I don't give a fuck where you're at. I damn sure don't care where I'm at. If my son throws himself down, throwing a tantrum, screaming and yelling, guess what? I'm going to pick him up, walk him to the closest bathroom, or take him out to the car. I'm going to pull his pants down and bust his ass. And he is going to know that what he was doing is wrong. And then he's going to be in timeout until I say otherwise. And that's just parenting. That's what you're supposed to do as a fucking parent, is teach. Discipline. Make sure they know right from wrong, where they can do something, where they can't do something. Show them that throwing a tantrum is not the right thing to do and it's not going to get you what you want. Bust their ass, teach them respect, teach them how to actually be a person, not a fucking pet on a leash. And if any of you have any problem with anything that I've said, leave a comment. Go ahead. I don't care. I'll reply to you. I really don't care. It's fucking wrong. People need to quit being lazy, quit being little pussies about being a fucking parent. Grow up, discipline your kids. Do it the right way. Maybe we wouldn't have so many lazy, degenerate little kids. People from my generation walking around here thinking that everything should be handed to them on a golden platter just because. I am 25 years old. You know what? I'll get outside and bust my ass any day of the week. You know why? Because I was taught that that is what you are supposed to do. I was taught that it is good to work and earn your keep. And my son will be taught the same thing. And you know how I was taught that? With motherfucking discipline and respect. Teach your children. Discipline your children. Show them respect. Teach them respect. And you know what? When you do, your children might actually fucking listen to you and do what you tell them to do. They might not try and run off and go wherever the hell they want to go when you're out in public. They won't throw themselves down on the ground and throw a tantrum. You know why? Because as soon as they do, they're gonna know that you're gonna pick them up and you're gonna bust their ass and discipline them. You know what? They'll stop doing that. My child, you hardly ever see him throw a tantrum in fucking public. You know why? Because he's had his ass busted a few times in public because he wanted to act up and throw a tantrum. It is not wrong to bust your child's ass. It is not wrong to discipline your child. And anybody that thinks it is, You don't need to be a fucking parent. Plain and simple. It's not supposed to be easy. It is not supposed to be easy in any way, shape, or form being a fucking parent. Being a parent means that you are at attention 24/7, every minute, every second of every motherfucking day. Plain and simple. You are paying attention to your children. You are making sure that they are okay. You are making sure that they are safe. You are disciplining, teaching, showing your children. Putting them on a leash ain't teaching them nothing. Okay, putting them on a leash is completely fucking wrong. It shows them that it's okay to be tied up, that it's okay to be on a leash. It's okay for somebody to lead you around. It's okay. It's not okay. It wasn't okay back in fucking the 1800s. It damn sure still ain't okay now. Stop teaching your children to be fucking lazy by being lazy parents. Stop making excuses as to why you need this and that and this and that so you can discipline or teach your children. Motherfucker, you are a grown-ass adult and you are a parent. Be one. Discipline. Teach. Respect. That's what a child needs. You go out in public, don't put them on a leash. Sit them right next to you and tell them, look, you stay right next to me. If they run off, guess what? Grab them, bust their ass, take them to the car, go home. If they won't listen, leave them at home with somebody and go handle the shit yourself. I don't know how many times I had to sit at home instead of riding out with my mom because I was acting up. So I got my ass busted and I had to stay home with a sitter. Did that plenty of times. Plenty of times have I been out in public with my mom. Acted up. Got my ass busted. And you know what? It worked. I stopped acting up in public. I stopped disrespecting people, especially when I was around my mama. My mom had 5 kids in 5 years. Nothing bad ever happened to any of us like what most of you people think. Nobody tried to snatch us up. And we was all over the place. My mom let us have fun. She let us be kids. And that's what's wrong with most of you parents, is you won't let your children just be kids. You won't teach them, you won't discipline them, and you won't let them just be kids.
I don't want to grow up.
And that's the problem. Sorry. You can't just teach your kid, discipline your kid, and let your kid be a kid. My son's 2 years old. He don't act up in public. He don't try and run off. He might go 10, 15 feet ahead of me, but he stops and he turns around and he makes sure his daddy is right there looking at him. And I am, every time. I love my son to death, and I'd do anything for him. But the one thing I'm not going to do is teach him that it's okay to use a crutch or an excuse to be a parent. I'm not going to teach him that it's okay to be tied up or be put on a fucking leash. He's not my prisoner. He's not my pet. I don't own him. He is my son. He is my child, my flesh and blood. So I will treat him with the same respect that I would treat with anybody. And that's what you fucking people need to start doing. Quit making excuses. Quit finding reasons to make stupid shit to try and cheat parenting. Because the more you do it, the stupider and the lazier every generation is going to get. You people don't teach your kids nothing. Most people that I've seen use these leashes are lazy fucking parents. They don't know how to discipline their kids. They don't know how to teach their kids properly. And you can call me closed-minded all you want. I don't give a fuck. I'm a very open-minded person. I really am. But when it comes to this, Go ahead, call me closed-minded all you want. It's fucking wrong.